Everyone, my name is Federico Tartarini and today we are going to develop a simple Python bot. This bot is going to receive a message from our user and then is going to reply with the same message that the user has sent to the bot. Of course, once you have understood how to create a simple bot, you will then be able to make the bot much more complex. And you can have a look at this Python Telegram bot library, which allows you and gives you a lot of functionalities that you're going to be able to use. However, in this video, we're going to keep it very simple. In this tutorial, we're going to use Google Cloud Function. The alternative is to deploy our Google bot on a server. The server will be always on and listening, and of course we will have some local storage that we can use, but at the same time we are going to be billed for all the hours of the month, because we of course want to make sure that our bot is always active. Using Google Cloud Function solve that problem, because we are going to be using a webhook. So every time a user sends a message, Telegram is going to send a post request to the webhook, and then the webhook is going to trigger the cloud function. The cloud function is going to perform all the actions that we have specified, and then is going to be automatically killed by Google. The other advantage of using Google Cloud Functions is that we're not going to be worrying about maintaining the server. So we're not going to have any downtime time, we don't have to upgrade or update or patch any packages, because Google is going to take care of all of that. Google Cloud Functions are serverless functions, so we just have to build a bit of Python code and then we just have to deploy. The code that we're going to deploy is going to be very simple, and I've taken most of the code that I'm going to be using in this tutorial from this blog from Pablo Seminario. So of course, in order to follow along with me in this video, you're going to need a couple of things. So you're going to need a Google Cloud Platform account. So as you can see here, I'm logged in. You can log in with your Google account, and you're going to be needing to activate billing, which means that you're going to have to enter your credit card details. Most likely you're not going to be charged by Google, because if your Telegram bot is used by few people, they're going to trigger the function a few times per day, and therefore you're going to stay inside the free tier. However, if you want to use Google Cloud Functions, unfortunately you have to provide your credit card details. Another requirement to follow along is to have Python installed on your computer, and you can simply install Python on your computer by just going on the Python website and then just install it. So as you can see here, install, and then you can download Python based on the type of machine that you have. Like here, you can install Python. I have a video also that I'm going to put here, a link at the top in a card, on how to set up Python and install Python on PyCharm. One other requirement that we're going to need for this video is to install the Google Cloud SDK. It's very important that you have it installed on your computer, so we're going to be able to use the gcloud commands. In order to install it on your computer, it's pretty simple. You just have to follow these instructions here, which I'm going to put a link in the description, and basically you just have to select your operating system. If you're using PowerShell, I would just suggest you to just copy and paste these into PowerShell, and then this is going to open this setup. You just have to follow it along and then tick all these, check all these things which are already set by default, press finish, and then you're going to have gcloud installed on your computer. The first time that you're going to run a gcloud command from your computer, you're going to be redirected to your web browser, and Google is going to ask you to actually log in into your account using your username and password, and then once it's set up, everything is going to be fine. You don't have to do it again. Of course, since you are developing a bot with Telegram, you will also need to have a Telegram account. That's of course a requirement. So actually, let's start with that. We can go in Telegram. I'm going to use web Telegram. Of course, you can do the same actions from your phone. And the first thing that we're going to need to do is to search for bot father. So we can go here and in the search bar, and we can look for bot father. Of course, it's already there, but I just want to show you how to look for it. We find the bot father, and inside here, we're going to type a new command. So maybe if you have never created a new bot, your page here is going to be empty, but in my case I've already created a bot before, so I'm going to create a new bot. So with this command /new bot, and bot father is going to ask us a couple of questions. So my bot is going to be called example YouTube video. So that's the name of my bot, and I'm just copying that because that's also going to be similar to the user ID. So we press enter. Now we need to specify the username. So we're going to say example YouTube video, and then we're going to call it bot. Please note that you might get an error here saying that the username has already been used, so you need to find a different username. I actually just realized that I misspell the username. I call it YouTube. Doesn't matter. It's just an example. I'm going to delete this bot also because I'm going to show you this API key. Of course, in your case, you will have to keep this API key secret because you shouldn't share it with anyone, absolutely. Otherwise, everyone that has access to this API key can actually send messages and can take control of your bot. In my case, I'm going to delete this bot after this video, so I don't worry too much. I just keep it here in plain text. Now we can just click here at the top on t.me/example YouTube video bot. Sorry again for the error. And then here we have our bot. So we have no messages yet. We're going to message with the bot later. Alternatively, if you want to find this bot, you can just simply copy your username here and you can just search here. If you don't find it, just put a @ in front. But basically this is our bot that we have just created. Same way to get there. Now we need to open PyCharm. So I'm going to open PyCharm and I'm going to open a new project. So let me just bring here the new window. So we're going to create a new project and we're going to put it into downloads. So we're going to call it Telegram example. So this is going to be our location. We are going to create a virtual environment. We're going to use base interpreter Python 3.8. We are not going to tick this thing, inherit global side packages, because we definitely don't want to do that. Yes, and we are going to create a main.py welcome script. No, we are going to just ignore that. And then we're going to click on create. So this is creating our project on our computer. It's going to take just a little bit of time. I'm going to fast forward this because it's going to be installing and creating the virtual environment. Of course, if you're not using PyCharm, you could have created a new folder on your computer and you could have created with pip the virtual environment, and then you could have activated the virtual environment as well. I would recommend you to just look at another video online how to get started with a virtual environment if you don't know how to do that or if you're not using PyCharm. Great, our project has been created. As you can see here at the top, I'm going to enter presentation mode. So basically the text on the screen is going to be a little bit bigger and it's going to be a little bit easier for you to see. We press Alt+1 and here we are in our project. So we're going to collapse this virtual environment. The first thing that we are going to create is a main file, main Python file. So we're going to call it main, and inside here we're going to add a bit of code. I'm going to copy this code from another project that I previously created, and I copied from the online tutorial, but I slightly changed it because I just want to show you a couple of things on how you can modify this file based on your liking. So we are importing the OS package and we are importing the Telegram package here. We're going to add later on the dependencies, so don't worry too much. Now it's just showing in red. We're going to fix that in a second. Then inside here, we're defining a function. The name of the function is very important, and I will show you in a second why it's very important. Just keep that in mind. We'll go over that again, and we're calling it Telegram_bot. Then we are defining our bot, and here we are using this Telegram package, which comes very handy because we are defining the bot, and we are defining it with a token. Where are we getting this token? We're getting this token from the Google Cloud function. So we're going to save a secret inside Google Cloud function, and then we're going to extract this secret using this os.environ Telegram token. Then we are checking if the request is a post request. So as I previously mentioned, when the user sends a message to Telegram, Telegram is going to send a post request to our URL endpoint. So that's going to be a post request. So it's going to pass this if statement. What we are going to do is we are going to extract the message, which is this update. We're going to get the chat ID from that person, so we know the person that actually sent the message, and we're going to extract that with the update.message.chatid. If you want to find out more, I would recommend you to just have a look at the Telegram library on how to unpack this message, or alternatively, you could even have printed this message and you could have figured it out. And then we are also going to send a message. So we're replying with the same message. So we're going to send back the same message that the user has sent, and we can use this function. So bot.sendMessage, we need to specify the chat ID and the text of the message that we're going to send. Then we're going to return test, or we can return OK, just to make sure that everything is OK. And this is going to just verify that this function is working. The next file that we need to add now is the gitignore file. So we can go here, just make sure that you click here on Telegram example, the name of the directory. We click here, new, and then we go to ignore file. We go to gitignore file. We click here. We're going to use a template. So we're going to look for Python here. So we can just scroll down, we select Python, and we select IntelliJ, JetBrains. Of course, I'm going to provide this source code, so you don't have to worry too much about it. I'm going to share the code with you, so you can just simply copy from my GitHub repository. I'm going to press on generate, and this is going to generate our gitignore file. Second, we need to create a gcloudignore file. Again, we can use PyCharm, comes handy because we can go new, ignore, and we're going to create a gcloudignore. Again, in this case, I'm just going to copy, I'm going to use like the generate file here, so we're just generating the file, and inside here, I'm just copying like some, a boilerplate, and I'm going to explain exactly which file I'm going to exclude. So we are basically excluding the gcloudignore file itself. We're going to exclude the git repository, we're going to exclude the gitignore. We're going to exclude the readme file that we're going to add in a second. And finally, we're going to exclude all the files that have already been excluded inside the gitignore file. So we don't need to write all the files again that have been excluded in the gitignore file, but we can just reference them with this command. Now you might ask, I'm familiar with the gitignore file, but why do I need to add a gcloudignore file? Well, the gitignore file is only for Git, so when you are syncing your project with Git. The gcloudignore file is similar to the gitignore file, but is only for Google Cloud Function, Google Cloud Run. So you need to add this file if you want to let Google know that you don't want to upload some specific file. So we go back here at the top, Telegram example, we're going to add a new file. This file is not really needed, but I'm just going to add it for you. So it's going to be the readme file. And inside the readme file, I'm going to specify all the commands that we're going to use in this example. So let me copy and paste, and then we're going to be using this command. So we are basically going to create a cloud function, running this command in the same line. So we're going to just use this command in a second. I will explain all the passages. So we're going to first create a Google Cloud function, and then we are going to set up the webhook with this command here. But again, I'm going to explain that. The last thing that we need to do is we go here, Telegram example, right click, new, and then we need to add the last file, which the last file is requirements.txt. So this again is very important because we need to let Python know and the Google Cloud function know which are the requirements of our project. And again, PyCharm comes handy because as you can see, this line is highlighted. If I press Alt Enter, is asking me to install Python Telegram bot. So I can just click on that, or I could have pressed enter, and this is installing Python Telegram bot for us. We can also check that by pressing Ctrl-Alt-S. We can go here inside, we can go in the interpreter, so we can go Python interpreter, and we can see that we have Python Telegram bot installed. Of course, you could have checked that again by activating the virtual environment, and with the command pip list you could have checked all the Python packages that were installed. We're almost there, so now we just have to open the terminal. So in my case it's going to be Alt F12, and we're going to just follow the instruction here in the readme file. So we're going to create a Google Cloud function with this command. So the command is going to be gcloud functions deploy Telegram bot. I told you before that the name inside of the function inside main was very important. So it's very important because we're going to add here the name of the function will have to be the same as the name of the function of Python. So the Google Cloud function name is better that has the same name as the main function that we need to call inside the main.py file. Of course, you could change that, and I would suggest you to just have a look at the gcloud SDK for more information on how to define what's the name of the function if you want to, and how you can change that. Then we're going to set environmental variables, and here, what I mentioned before, we could have added a secret directly inside the Google Cloud Console. But just to keep it simple, inside this example, we're going to pass here the Telegram token, and here we're going to specify the Telegram token. So I'm going to replace this text here with the Telegram token just to show you all the steps. We're going to define the runtime. So in this example, we're going to be using Python 3.8. And the reason why I'm using Python 3.8 is just because it's not exactly the latest version of Python at the moment in which I'm recording, but it's just, like it works with a lot of different packages. And it's also very important that we specify this, which is trigger HTTP. Why do we need to specify this? Because we want to make sure that our Google Cloud function is triggered with an HTTP post request. We don't have to specify post, but we need to specify that it's going to be triggered by an HTTP request. And finally, we're going to be specifying the project name. Okay, I'm going to change that in a second. So let me open my browser again. So we're going to get the project ID. So from here, Google Cloud Platform. If you don't have a project already created, you can click here at the top and create a new project and follow the instructions. I have already a project created, so I'm going to get this ID and I'm going to copy it there. So here, let me just duplicate this line and put a space. So we're going to put our project ID, and now I'm going to copy the Telegram token inside here. We just have to copy all this command here, go here in our terminal, paste it, just check that everything is okay, and we press enter. This is going to take a little bit of time and is going to ask us a couple of questions. We might also be asked to log in into gcloud if it's the first time that you're going to be using gcloud commands. You're going to have to authenticate with your computer, so that is going to be maybe a question that is asked to you. So is asking you for allow unauthenticated invocation of the new function. Of course, yes. We want that Telegram is going to be able to send us a request. You could change this and ask Telegram to have authenticated invocation. But this goes way beyond the scope of this video. I just want to keep it simple. So we press yes, and this is not going to be a big problem unless you share publicly what is the URL that Telegram is invocating. I don't think it's going to be a big problem anyway. So we can press yes, and this might take a little bit of time, and we're creating our function. So if you go back here, you can see inside Google Cloud Function, at the moment, we just have one function, which is a function that I've created before. You will see in a few seconds that a new function will appear and is going to be our Telegram bot. In the meantime, while this process is completing, we can go and see the next step. For the next step, again, we're going to be needing the Telegram token. So just let me copy that. we need to set the webhook where it's going to send the post request. So we need two pieces of information here. So let me duplicate this line again and let me copy the information inside here. So we're going to do https://api.telegram.org bot, and inside here we're going to copy our token. Just make sure there is no space, nothing here in between bot and the bot secret ID. And then webhook URL, you can find it here actually in our message that we just got after our function was successfully uploaded. So we can see that the success was successfully uploaded by this message. It's telling us a couple of information. So what's the name of the function, the status, which is active, the version of the function, but most importantly, it's telling us this URL. So we can get this URL, we can copy it, and we can paste it inside here. If we go to this URL, we should be receiving an OK message. And why do we receive an OK message? Is because we have specified that inside our Google Cloud, inside our Python file here. So we can see here main.py and return OK. If we would have said any other message, we would have seen that message over there. So let's go back to the README. Now we have specified the right URL. We just copied this command here and we are setting the URL where Telegram is going to be sending our post, our messages. So we just have to press enter. And we should be receiving in a second a success message. And you can see that is a success message if the status code is 200, status description is OK, and it says OK, results true, description webhook was set. Fantastic, now we are ready to go. So the next step is to go back to our Telegram here online, webtelegram.org. Of course, you can do the same thing from your phone. As I previously said, you can click here or you can look for your ID or Telegram name that you just created. You can click here and you can start a conversation with our bot. So we're going to send the start message, and as you can see, we are going to be receiving the same message that we sent. So for instance, I can send a message, say ciao, and here we are receiving the same message from the bot. Let me quickly show you that if I change the main file, I'm going to change here this from test, I'm going to change it to, from OK, I'm going to change it to test, and in the message, I'm going to add here in the text, we're going to say from the bot. So here we're going to run again this previous command, gcloud function deploy telegram bot. In this case, we are not going to need to again set up the environmental variables, so we can cancel all this code here. Perfect, so we can cancel all that, and now we can press enter again. This is going to deploy our Google Cloud function. So we can see that a new version has been deployed because you can see here version 2. Now if I click on this link here, I'm going to be redirected to this page, and we should receive actually the test message, as you can see. So we have test, so we can see that all our changes have been successfully applied. And if you go here to the bot, we can say ciao, and then if I press enter, I should receive a message ciao from the bot. Of course, because I didn't put a space when I actually wrote the string, I put plus and then the string from the bot. So we can see that everything is working. If you found this content interesting and this video interesting, I just would like to ask you to like this video and please subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down in the comment section below. And I will share, of course, all the code on GitHub, so you can just copy and paste it and you can change it as you like.